Welcome to Taboo Texarkana, the podcast where we dive deep into the untold stories, spiritual journeys, and topics people don't usually talk about. I'm Colton Foltz, your host, inviting you to join me as we sit down with incredible individuals from Texarkana and beyond. And today, I have the lovely Miss Sheila with me. Thank you for coming out.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Do you listen to any podcasts?
I have,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Which ones?
Sandy.
Oh, you listened
Love,
to the one with
yes.
her?
Yes.
Were you on a podcast at one point?
No.
I know like Jeff Easterling was
Oh,
doing.
yeah. We were.
You were?
Yes. Forgot
Okay.
about that. Sure was.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming to my little show. So what is Crystal Moon?
So, Crystal Moon is a metaphysical shop, spiritual shop. She was born out of absolute necessity, something that this town didn't have and very much needed.
Yeah. So how long have you been in business now?
We've been in business over 5 years,
So you started in 2020.
February of 2020.
How many square feet was your first shop
It was
compared
like-
to your shop today?
it was so little. I don't know, less than 700.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
about it the other day. I was like, that thing was like 15 by 30. You could fit your whole shop under a canopy, like for your old shop.
It was so tiny. I mean, yes,
Yeah. And then I love the space that you had down Richmond Road.
the cabin. That
cabin.
was our favorite place. I miss it,
Yeah.
but you had to want to come to Crystal Moon.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that was just going to be somebody. Oh,
There's nothing
that's it."
down there.
Yeah. No,
So, how long have you been downtown?
we've been downtown 3 years.
Yeah. And
3
you
years.
like it?
Love it. I love being downtown. I grew up here, so seeing downtown come back to life has been exciting,
Yeah.
and to be a part of it.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love downtown. It's like one of the only safe places to go that's actually doing things all the time.
Yeah.
Where you can just walk around because you can't do that on Richmond or Summerhill or State Line.
Absolutely.
So where are you from? Where'd you go to school at?
Texas High. I mean,
Wow.
we moved here when I was 6 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, 1970. Actually, yeah, 1975.
Where'd y'all move from?
My dad was Air Force.
Okay.
He retired, and his family was here. So,
Nice.
Yep.
So did y'all travel around a lot before that?
well, I'm the youngest of 6 children.
Oh,
so
wow. So
yeah,
he was
so yeah,
done
most of
by the
his
time you were
his
6.
career was done by the time. Yeah, I was born in Portugal.
Wow.
We were there till I was 3, and came back stateside to Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
And then here,
What did he do in the Air Force?
he's Chief Master Sergeant.
Wow. So he was up there.
Yep, he was.
Cool. So you graduated from Texas High. How did you meet Charles, your husband? Was it at school?
No.
Or
Actually, Charles used to work for Miller County. He was a sheriff's deputy,
okay.
and so I met him when he was the he worked for my ex-husband in Falk.
Okay. Cool. I know him and my dad somehow know each other, and I don't know if they went to school together or what, but my dad knows a lot of the.
The Lemleys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said Crystal Moon came out of a necessity is that for the town and the community, or is that a necessity for your own life, or both?
Absolutely both. Both. I mean, we had to travel to get, anything, crystals or
Yeah.
anything that I wanted. We had to travel. So it just got to the point where Charles was like, "Well, let's just try this."
Yeah.
And then it was like, "Whoa. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger than what we thought it was going to be."
Yeah.
Yeah.
as far as the responsibilities and
and
running
just
a
filling
business.
the niche that we just didn't
Mm,
realize, that there was so many people like me,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, I love that because before, anytime we would travel through like Little Rock or go to Shreveport, we would stop at like a crystal shop or Dallas. Like you really couldn't find that stuff anywhere unless it was. I mean, maybe Sandy has a couple things, but
Right.
like your shop is so unique. What are some items that you carry at your shop?
So we have, of course, the crystals and sage, incense. We have the necklaces. We have the jewelry. We have singing bowls, um, towers, spears, candles, just all different kinds of things.
What
You
would you
know,
say your number one selling
bracelets are
couple
our
items are?
bracelets.
Really?
Yes, bracelets, incense, and then the stones.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we have such a wide variety. I love ordering incense. That's just one of my favorite
Yeah.
things to do. You can get so many different things, but yeah.
So that's something I was wondering too is where do you get your inventory?
So we have several different vendors that we buy from that are established within this type of community that have been established for a very long time.
You're not ordering them on Temu?
No, we're not ordering from Temu.
Didn't somebody say that to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's okay. We're not
That's
ordering from Temu.
that's funny. So, can you explain the the metaphysical properties of a crystal and like what it what's the energy behind it? Because from what I'm thinking is like I mean we put quartz in watches to power watches like so like these different stones have different vibrations or
Absolutely.
frequencies or like different types of healing properties. So can you maybe dive into that and like maybe give an example of a certain crystal and what it could do for somebody?
Absolutely. So, what our biggest thing right now is people with stress and anxiety. And yes, the stones, they all carry different vibrations. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, no doubt about it. They all carry different vibrations. And so, those it's not like taking medicine or anything like that. They're tools to help you. They're not going to make anything absolutely go away. They're not going to, you know, just because you're carrying a stone that is for love, it's not going to bring love. You
Hmm.
still have to do the work. They're tools to help you. You have the stones for grounding. People need that so much right now. You have the stones for negativity. Hematite is one of our best selling stones, along with amethyst. But hematite is one that absorbs negativity.
That's cool.
Yes. Rose quartz is another one that is a big seller because that's your love stone. It's about compassion. It's not just about the romance
Hmm.
part of it. It's about compassion. It's about, loving yourself and loving others, you know. Clear quartz. Clear quartz is another one. That is it's your master healer. It's a stone with the most vibrations. That's why they're used in electronics, but that's one that we also use with our crown chakra and its connection to divine. Um, there's just there's just so many. It's just yeah.
What are some of your favorite crystals to carry around or use?
So citrine. A citrine is a beautiful yellow stone. It's the joy, the happiness. It's also prosperity, but I carry that one. I carry a stone, usually a blue stone, for my throat chakra so that I can communicate clearly. Of course, my amethyst for anxiety, and then usually a green stone for prosperity.
Nice. I love that. Do you think the incense kind of work in the same type of way as far as their healing properties, maybe with their different scents? Can they kind of bring some of those same properties that the crystals bring?
Absolutely. I do believe that.
I wonder what that is about aromatherapy
Right.
or smelling those things that set something off in our body, in our brain waves and such. Cool.
Yes.
So, what's been one of your most memorable moments of running the shop downtown
Of running the shop downtown.
or in general over the whole?
I think in general, I had a lady walk in, and as soon as she came in and she took a breath, she just started crying. And she's just like, "Thank you for being here." You know,
Yes.
um, we've had a lot of moments like that where people just, "Thank you,
Hmm.
thank you for being here."
That was one of the questions I had wrote down was like something along the lines of how have you seen anybody's lives just like transform or like have people I'm sure you see people progress on their spiritual journeys as they come in throughout these 5 years. And like you said, the woman walked in and just started crying.
Mhm. Yeah, we have a lot of people that come in just to come in because they are overwhelmed, they've got stuff going on, and they just want to let it go. It's a safe space, it's a calm space, it's got good energy in
Yeah.
it, so
Mm-hmm.
people just want to just come in and they'll just walk around for a little bit, or they'll go sit in our little sitting area and just let
Yeah.
whatever is going, just let it go. Because we have a lot of plants, thanks to
Mm-hmm.
Landa. We have a lot of plants, and plants do the same thing. Plants
Mm.
absorb negativity. They, create that good atmosphere. Um, so that helps a lot too.
Yeah, you need like a zen den, like a lounge area where people can come in and relax.
Yeah.
I love that. So, how has the community been receptive of you opening up a metaphysical shop in the Bible Belt? Other than, of course, the people that are coming back and back, but have you faced any?
We did at first when we first opened. We did. We had a little bit of misunderstandings, and they were gonna send the preachers out and all this, and you know I got on Facebook and I addressed it, and I said, anybody is welcome to come in and have a conversation with me. I had one preacher reach out to me. We had a conversation, and I will respect that man for the rest of my life for reaching out to me. And I think we handled it to the best that we could, and we haven't had any problems. And I mean, we have people. We had a young man come in a couple months ago, and I feel like he was pretty headstrong about his opinions of who we were,
Yeah.
you know. And when we got done talking with him, he was like, "I feel so bad," because it wasn't what he thought at all,
Yeah.
you know. So I invite anybody to come in and have a conversation. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that y'all have that space to where people can have that change of mind, change of heart.
Absolutely.
So, how do you manage so many different things like being a, you're like a spiritual leader in the community and a business owner and a mom and a grandmother? Like, what are some of your ways to decompress or ride the waves of life as they keep coming?
Ooh, that's called antidepressants. That
Which
is,
crystal is that?
that is called antidepressants. Yeah, it gets overwhelming. It does. I can't say that I handle it all perfectly or well. I
Yeah.
handle it as humanly as possible, and it does get overwhelming.
Yeah, and you're still here. I mean, you're still running the business, and I know how hard it is. And mine's like a one a day business, and yours is every day. I couldn't imagine putting everything into something and being in your position or anybody that runs a full time business with employees.
Well, we had to cut back at Crystal Moon. Just the economy just kind of went. Oh. So we cut
Yeah,
our hours back. So we're only open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But we're keeping the lights on and it's it's this isn't a business that I have to fully support myself off of. Thank God for my husband, because I mean I couldn't do it without him. But it's more of, I want to be here for the people that need me here.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
So speaking of antidepressants,
Yes,
you've tried some psychedelic psychotherapies.
yes.
You care to share?
Absolutely. When I was 18, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. So I have fought this all my life. And um, back in, I think it was October, it got to a really, there was a lot of things going on. And I got to a really dark, dark place. And my husband knew of Dr. Harris, and who runs the ketamine clinic. And he said, I think this might be a good idea. And so did the ketamine, and yeah, it was a lifesaver. That he saved my life. Dr. Harris saved my life.
That's in Texarkana?
Yes, Texarkana Ketamine Clinic.
Okay.
Jason Harris.
So what was the assessment, the setup like? Did you come in and sit on a couch, and was it an IV drip or like a wax tablet, or did you just lay down and put an eye pillow on and there's music, or
You have a little room that you go into, and you have a recliner, and it's an IV, and they have a TV and headphones, and they get you set up, and you're there for an hour.
yeah.
And yeah, it was a pretty weird experience the very first time, because I've not ever gone down that path before
Mhm.
with any kind of the psychedelics. So it was pretty trippy. I feel like it did open my or expand my mind a little bit,
Yeah.
into a lot more of the spirituality things. And yeah,
How many times have you done it?
so the first week that you're there, you do it 3 times. Then you go back the next week and do it 3 times. And then it was once every 6 weeks after that. So that was October, and my last session was in March. I had one in April, but I canceled it because I'm
Okay.
doing,
Feeling better?
yes, doing so much
So
better.
that's like 12? You said you do it 3 the first time. Is that
3 the first week, 3 the
3 in
second
1
week,
week?
and then
Once a
then
week
it was
for
once
6
every
weeks?
6 to 8 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It was
Sounds.
it was it, it was what I needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you nervous and scared to go under and like
Y-
explore that?
Yes,
Because
because
that's
like
why
I
I
said,
said, whoa.
I've never I've never done any kind of psychedelics before, so I wasn't sure what to
Yeah.
expect. I didn't know. But yeah, I would definitely, if somebody is having issues with depression, and it's um mine was treatment resistant. I had been on so many different types of antidepressants over the years that just didn't work.
Yeah.
And he was able to do a cheek swab and send that in and get a list back of antidepressants that would work
Wow.
with me. So there was 2 different ones, and we tried the first one and it didn't work, and then we second one, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's been great.
So the therapy plus the proper medication.
Yep.
So was there like an integration coach or like therapy sessions with this ketamine?
No.
So it was just here's your experience and then that's it.
Yep.
So what were some of maybe like your biggest takeaways or trippiest experiences under the ketamine?
Oh my gosh. Um, I think that, that we don't understand a bit of what this life is about. A bit. And that there's so much more to it than we could even begin to fathom, you know. Yeah, it's not just about getting up and going to work and taking care of the families and, going to whatever. Just it's so much more that yeah, we'll never fully understand it. It's crazy.
Don't you wish, now that you've had an experience like that, don't you wish that everybody could have that type
Yes.
of experience or realization?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I absolutely do.
I've never done the ketamine psychedelic psychotherapy, but I I was seeing a therapist and she was doing it, and I was like, I think I'm ready for the ketamine, and we did the MDMA. So she
Mhm.
recommended doing the MDMA first because it was more happy and lighter, and she said the ketamine was a little lower and darker, and it was, and I've done a lot of drugs and MDMA, so nothing was new to me, but it was a hard experience. But she like talked me through it, and it was more of like a soul retrieval
Mhm.
where she kind of like walked me down this visualization, and I was like, can't do this. Then I threw up and then got back into it and finished it off. But what does the ketamine feel like? Is it like you're tranquilized, or
Um,
do you
so
see like colors
oh,
and
absolutely. I mean, as soon as it hits, of course, it's something that they used for anesthesia back in, and I
like
mean,
the
it's
World
still
War?
used, yes, and it's
Yeah.
still used for anesthesia. But yes, as soon as it hits, I mean, the colors and just, I mean, your eyes are closed and you're just, it's like you're walking through whatever. I always had to make sure that I went in with a good peaceful mind because
Yes.
I was so scared of having a
Bad.
bad experience, That's not what I
Mm-hmm.
wanted. But um my mind stays on, why are we here? What is this all about? What am I supposed to be doing? So that's the kind of experience that I always had. Was it was a spiritual thing. It was, yeah, just basically spiritual. And yes, I mean the colors and just the things and just like, how is this happening? How,
It's so
and
cool.
yeah, it was. It's a magnificent experience.
I love that. Do you know anybody else that's done it? Have you recommended it to anybody? And
I have talked to several people.
yeah,
Yes. Yes, and I will always recommend it if somebody is in that same space that I was in. Absolutely.
cool. That was one of my
Absolutely.
questions was would you recommend it, or if somebody's struggling with their mental health, what would be your advice? Cuz I mean, psychedelics isn't potentially for everybody, cuz
Right.
sometimes people can't get that mindset correct or
Right.
positive before they go into those types of
Right.
experiences.
And I've spent some time in therapy, but therapy wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Um, so I left and just kind of went out on my own and figured things out on my own. I I didn't have the best childhood experiences that was very traumatic.
Yeah.
You know, um,
What didn't you like about therapy?
they wanted to wanted me to journal, and I am not a person that writes anything down. I do not journal. I do not write anything down. Have serious trust issues, and so I'm like, if
Leave no
anybody ever
evidence.
read this, they would use it against me. I'm not writing nothing down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just not a journal. But they have some issues with my father, and wanted me to. He's passed away. Wanted me to write a letter to him. No,
Not doing it.
not doing it. Nope, not doing it. So, I learned a lot on my own.
Yeah.
I learned things that I should have learned in therapy. Learned coping mechanisms. I should have learned that word in therapy.
Yeah.
You know.
How'd you explore those on your own? How'd you come to those like conclusions? Because some people need somebody to say, "Hey, this is what you need to do." Because sometimes we'll just keep spinning the wheels ourselves.
It just was stuff that I just it came to me.
Yeah.
It just, because I was digging so deep. I wanted to to get past this hurt. I was so angry. I was a very, very angry person. Um, until I realized driving home from Shreveport one day, this anger serves me no purpose. It's not doing anything good for me.
Yeah.
I need to let this go. You know? So at that point, I was like, okay, all right, we got that one down. What's next? Okay, coping mechanisms. Okay, spending too much money you don't have.
Yeah.
Buying things. That was just to buying things for myself. That was another coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Drinking was a coping mechanism at one time. That's not good.
Yeah. I've been there. Yeah, and it's amazing. See, I used to take like mushrooms or LSD and to have those realizations to be like, oh, I'm angry. Why am I angry? Oh, my childhood or this or that. It was, I guess, maybe my sober mind was just so flooded or my anxiety was so high. I wouldn't have those realizations without the help of these psychedelics or therapy. And I've been with a few different therapists, and some of them have just been awful. And then I've been with one for a long time, and she's great. And the only time I see her now is if I plan to do psychedelics or something, or if I'm trying to work through something, kind of help set goals and intentions, and then have the experience and then go back and sit with her. So thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I wish we could all sit down and have these realizations without going through the pain and
Even
the hurt.
having these conversations, you know, um, in my generation, there's conversations that you just didn't have. You didn't talk about some of these things, and they're things that need to be talked about because if they're not talked about, then those coping mechanisms happen,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and so, yeah, it's things that need to be talked about.
How long ago would you say it was when you had that realization driving back from Shreveport?
Let's see, that was about 2015, 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
Fairly recent.
Yeah, not super far, you know.
Nope.
The sooner we
Yeah.
get on it, the better.
Yep.
Well, I'm I'm glad that you're here and you are who you are so that you can lead and pave the way for so many people in Texarkana, and especially with Crystal Moon being that safe space to come and talk. And you can, I mean, you're like a mentor and so many things. We love you so much.
Thank you. I love y'all too. And that's why, I mean, we want Crystal Moon to be that space. We want to be able to reach out and if we can, help. And if we can't do it, let's find somebody.
You know somebody that can.
Yep.
You're like the hub of the network, like I love it because you can go in there and you got 20 business cards of people that do anything from energy healing to graphic design to crochet or whatever.
Yep.
Like, um, so looking back, what's been your greatest lesson or turning point in life so far?
My greatest lesson is letting go, and learning that not everything needs your response. That's been the hardest, I think. Not everything needs a response. It's okay how people feel about you. It's not your business. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So when you say not everything needs a response, you mean just when people are talking about you, or you don't have
Absolutely.
to answer
Nope.
every
Mm-mm.
question or
Nope.
text or call?
You
or...
don't. You absolutely don't. You're not going to make everybody happy. You're not going to please everybody. And that's just part of life.
Yeah.
And I'm a people pleaser. That's exhausting.
Yeah.
So, you're not going to please everybody. You're not going to make everybody happy. Not everybody's going to like you. And that's okay.
Yeah.
They're not meant to.
Yeah. I was a huge people pleaser too. And the more my business grew and stuff, I just can't keep up with all the calls and texts and emails, and people want to just sit down and talk and pick my brain or podcast, interview, newspaper. There was one year where I was like, I'm not getting on the radio. I'm not doing any interviews with the newspaper. I'm not doing anything. And it sounds selfish, but like I need that energy within myself to be able to even just give it back to my family, my immediate tribe, you know.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know how you did
Still doing it.
it. Still doing it.
We're here doing this.
Yep.
Um, I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, it feels good taking a break from Universal Vibe because I'm not waking up having to check my email, respond to messages, or coordinate with 300 people for
Yeah.
a 12-hour event, you know? But it's probably going to come back. So we'll probably do one in 2026. So it kind of looms over me a little bit. But we're doing lots of events in June. We're going to be doing a sound bath at Crystal Moon,
Yes.
June 22nd.
Very excited about that.
Yeah, super excited. We haven't done one since the last one we did, and that was February 22nd.
Yes.
It was 222.
Yes, it was. Yep.
Yeah, so it's been 4 months.
I tell you what, have never been so stoked as I was after that sound bath.
Yeah,
I mean, you just delivered something so personal to every person that was there. It was amazing. And when I got home, I told my husband, I said, I'm just ready to go. It's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. It was amazing.
Thank you. That was the most intimate, fun one that we've ever done, and had all the instruments, and some of them I played for the first time there. So hoping we can practice and be ready for when the time comes. We're also doing a bunch of other things in June, so go to universalvibe.org and check out all the other events. So, what is Crystal Ink?
So Crystal Ink is tattoo studio that my son is tattooing in Robert Haynes.
Robert Haynes. He's done the last like 4 or 5 of mine and Cassie's tattoos. Love him. Is he still the only artist there?
He is. It's Arkansas doesn't make it very easy to get a license. It's really
How
hard.
long did it take y'all?
Well, he had to.
him?
Yeah, he had to do his however many hours he had to apprenticeship, and yeah, so it took quite a while.
So is he? I plan on having him on one of these days. It's a
Fantastic.
slow roll getting one podcast a month. I could go 2 years and have 20 guests, you know?
Yeah.
So, how is the business growing? Is Crystal Ink?
Oh, he's doing so phenomenally.
Yeah.
And he's staying booked, and I just can't be any more prouder.
It's such a
him.
great location because there's nowhere else in Texarkana that I can think of where you're going to just walk upon a tattoo shop. Because everywhere else, it's kind of like the old Crystal Moon. You have to be driving to go
Yes.
there. You have to drive to Sandy's. It's not like a entertainment district where you can walk around and drink and there's music outside and stuff. Like
Right.
that's prime location.
Yes.
It's awesome.
It is. So yeah. So we do need one, but we're not actively searching for anybody because
Yeah.
it's not like we want to take anybody from another place.
Yeah.
That's not who we are. You know, so if somebody does come to him and say, hey, you know, and he's had some people, but
Yeah. Well, yeah, no rush because that's y'all's baby.
Yep.
You know, like gotta protect it.
yeah.
Dang, I had a question. Oh, how many tattoos do you have?
Oh, I don't know.
Stop counting.
Yeah, I've stopped counting. It was funny because I was watching Sandy's podcast, and you know, before she was our very first tattoo shop here in Texarkana. So
Mhm.
before her, we had a school bus that would come through once a year from Missouri.
What?
That's how we would get tattoos.
In Texarkana?
Yes, in the State Line Kmart parking lot.
That's crazy.
It was
Was that even legal?
yeah.
Oh.
I mean, yes, the health department would come out and do their thing and everything.
That's so
But it
cool.
was
Wow. I didn't realize Sandy was the first.
Yes.
I know she's been in business for 30 years as of like this year.
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy. Um, do you have any funny stories to any of your tattoos? Would you like to
No.
share any of them?
No funny stories.
No.
No.
Um, has Rob experienced what's the crazy? Have y'all experienced anything weird or crazy at Crystal Ink being downtown with the bar, drinking scene, party scenes?
No, he hasn't. I mean, it's been a really great experience. I mean, like I said, he stays booked, and
When did y'all open Crystal Ink?
February 14th,
Okay,
Valentine's Day.
nice. So it's been only 3 or 4 months.
Yes.
Dang, feels like it's been a
I
while.
know.
Yeah, and that's when y'all celebrated y'all's 5-year anniversary
Right.
for Crystal
For
Moon.
Crystal Moon.
So, what has been your favorite Universal Vibe Festival memory?
Oh. You know, I think I had to go back to the very first one. I mean, it was just we didn't know what to expect,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so much more than we could have ever hoped for.
Yeah.
And I think for everybody that was there, it was.
A lot of people say that they're like the first one, just the vibes of being out in the woods and in the grass and the trees. And I mean, the people we rented the property for didn't know what they were getting into either. We just kept it kind of like hush hush and was like just doing this small little community gathering. And a few hundred people later,
It was awesome. It was an awesome experience. Yeah.
yeah, that was definitely probably my favorite. I really enjoyed, I think, 2021, the first year downtown. And then 23 was good too. 22 and 24 were hard. They're all hard. They're
Yeah.
all difficult in certain ways. But so you've been our top sponsor every year. I want to ask, what inspires you to sponsor an event like that or be a part of Universal Vibe?
You, you know, just getting to know you, and that was all it took. I mean, it's like, yeah, I got to stand behind this guy. Yep.
Thanks. I remember the first year I was just literally going like door to door. I was like, I'm trying to put this thing together, and sponsorships are $100. And I had a dream that I had walked into your shop, and there was like this green glowing orb, and you'd given it to me as a gift or something. So then I came in, I'm looking for like this malachite orb sphere or something. And I tell you, I'm like, I had this dream that you gave me this green orb. And you're like, well, actually, because I'm going to give you 10 times more for that sponsorship. And I was like, what? Like, that was like half of our budget that first year. You know,
Yeah.
vendor slots were like $20. So
I believed in you, so
thanks.
you know, still do.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We
Absolutely.
couldn't do it without you and all the monetary stuff aside, like your support and love and your shop means so much
Thank you.
to Cassie and I in the community. So I know you said your military career was very brief.
Yeah, I didn't make it through boot camp. Yeah.
What was your job supposed to be?
I had to go open because I didn't meet the weight requirement.
Really?
Yes, so Marine Corps had a weight requirement, and if you weren't at that weight, you had to go open, and then they could just put you wherever.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You would
So
think that they just like, was that, you would think that they just wouldn't accept you.
no, that was good for them because then they could put you where they
Yeah,
want.
I get it. I get what they're doing. It happens in the Navy all the time. People get sent out undesignated, no job, and they just get put wherever. But I don't know. It's It's crazy.
It was fun. I would never trade that experience for anything, and I wish that was something that um if you were physically able to, that kids should have to do upon graduation.
Yeah.
It was you learned what discipline is.
Yeah.
You learn what working with people, how to work together, teamwork. You learn a lot of things
Yeah.
that sometimes kids don't get.
Kids or even just
Yeah.
civilians. And I remember when I got out and I had to work back in like the public, and I was working with like 16-year-olds, 18-year-olds, and it was just night and day from military trained personnel to like these kids that are in high school or in, I mean, even today, I work with some people that are really great, and then there's some people that are just a little goofy and people just slack off and stuff. And it's just sometimes I wish I wasn't wired this way, but it
Yep.
definitely got me.
Yep.
Some of my intentions sometimes with these plant medicines have been to like deprogram some of it, but also some of it's what makes Universe Vibe so successful is like I know how to work super hard and I'll push through and won't stop.
Yep.
But also to what end
Right.
sometimes I'll go over the
Over.
cliff, you know?
Yes.
So it's always a fine balance. I was going to ask something else about that. I think it would be great for everybody to go through it and have that discipline and realize how great their life is because how long were you in boot camp?
Oh,
Two
so
days?
yeah. No, so what Marine Corps boot camp is 13 weeks, and I left here um July 5th and came back home September 17th.
Okay.
But I was
July.
in the medical rehab platoon for several weeks.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, do you mind sharing what happened?
We were on our 7-mile hump to weapons battalion, and in halfway you have to do a blister check. And it
Mm,
took my boots off and my ankles went
yeah.
and couldn't get my boots back on. It was both of them. It wasn't just one, it was both of them. They
Yeah.
turned black and blue, and yeah. So I had sprained them both.
Dang. And
Yeah.
they just phased you out
Yes.
from that?
Yeah.
Didn't you
Had
say,
shin splints, stress fractures, and tendonitis also.
dang, a 7-mile hike will do that to you? And running in boots?
Yes. Yeah, I just wasn't built for it. Just
Yeah.
wasn't built for it. I hate that because it was a lot of fun. It was very hard. Absolutely, it was very hard. Um, you have to go in with that mentality of knowing that, everything you're fixing to go through and everything that is for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take it all personally. They're going to call you a lot of things, but they
Mm-hmm.
have to.
Yeah.
So
And then at the end of boot camp, they're like joking with you and telling you stories and
yes, yeah. When they loaded me up into the van, and they were taking me to I think they were going to the hospital, and the drill instructor was a new one that had just joined with us,
mm-hmm.
and she just dropped everything and was talking to me like a person, and I was so offended. Was like, you're not supposed to, you're not supposed to be talking to me like this,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very offended.
It's a mind game
It
that they
is.
play with you, but they want you to be tough and
Yes. Everything is for a reason. It is
yeah,
absolutely for a reason.
you got to be able to take that when people are dying around you or something's on fire or the boat's sinking or whatever. So,
Yes, there is no you. It is, you're a team. It is we, so
yeah. So what was one of the hardest parts about boot camp? Did you have a hard time? Well, you said you had a hard childhood, so I'm sure you were ready to
oh
leave.
yeah,
You were like,
yeah, no,
I'm out.
really I don't think the only thing that was hard was the getting hurt
Yeah. So that's
part,
another thing I was thinking was
Yeah, it's
was that
just
devastating?
leaving your platoon and having to go and join this other group that you don't know anything about. You've already made all these friends, you
Yeah.
know, and yeah,
Dang.
it was. And I think you lose a lot. Then you start getting in your head, and it's just like,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
hard.
it is. It was hard.
So they didn't want to rehabilitate you and
Well,
put you
okay,
back
so
in?
this was during Desert Storm.
Mm,
So they were pushing everybody in and out. The nasties, as we had to call the men, because I was at Paris Island. That's all they had for the women at that time was just Paris Island. So they were pushing the nasties through quick because they were trying to get them in and
dang.
out. So they didn't have time at that point. They didn't
Yeah,
have time to spend with. Yeah.
yeah. So are you like qualified disabled or anything? Do you
No, because you have to be in. So it was entry
have to
level
be in so many
separation. Yeah,
days? Dang,
yeah.
they just chew you up and spit you out.
Entry level separation. It's okay.
Did you heal? Did your feet
My
and
ankles
legs?
are very weak. It takes one just little slip, and I mean, it just goes. Yeah.
You would think that you would qualify for some type of disability or compensation, or
Oh no,
do you even get
there.
like GI Bill or
No, one in there.
nothing?
No, one even in there long enough to sneeze at.
Yeah, but what if you had lost a limb or like, God forbid, died in the first couple of weeks or something? Well, everything happens
Yeah.
for a reason, you
Yeah,
know.
it's an experience that I wouldn't trade for the world. I mean, I loved it. It was hard.
I always
It
tell
was very
people
hard.
that my military career was like the best of times and the worst of times.
Mm.
It was some of the funnest, craziest, wildest, most exciting thrills I've ever had in my life. And also it was some of like the worst, most miserable, hardest times I've ever had in my life.
See, I can't relate to that, and it makes me sad because coming from a military family,
Yeah.
my brother's Army, and I have another brother that was in the Air Force, and yeah, so yeah,
I loved it, but just like what we were talking about, the balance thing, I was all in, full tilt. I was probably going a little too hard, you know? So my personal life and family and all that stuff always got put on the back burner, especially when you have a honorable cause of serving my country. You know,
right,
country comes first. Um, in boot camp, for me, I was running a lot in my boots, and like a few weeks in, I ended up getting stress fractures in both of my feet. So when I'd take my boots off, my feet would swell and they were purple. But we weren't during a time of like Desert Storm or like intense war. So they would phase people down and you would have to like start boot camp over. And like they'd put you in the medical, then you start over. And I just toughed it out for 4 more weeks and ran and did jumping jacks and push ups with my broken feet. And then when I got to Pensacola, I got a boot on my foot for like 4 or 5 months. Took a long time to heal,
yeah,
but I don't know. I also had something to work for. You know, I was thinking about my kid and my wife, and I'll run on broken feet and do whatever it takes. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share? Any exciting things coming downtown? Any new adventures for Crystal Moon, Crystal Ink? Um, they have HypeCon going on this weekend. Is that at Cross Ties?
yes, yes. The wrestling was set up this evening, so
Oh, cool.
yeah,
That's probably happening right now.
yes.
Yeah. Have you went to any of those?
No, I
Oh,
have not
they're
made it.
hilarious. It's so funny. The kids loved it. the Cause they talk a bunch of like smack, you know, and one of the wrestlers was sitting behind us and we didn't know, but he's like, "Boo, you suck," and like saying all this stuff. So then my kids are yelling, "You suck." And they were letting go of some aggression. It was hilarious.
That's
Um,
funny.
yeah. Well, thank you for your time, for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Landa, it's your turn to come on to the pod. um, June 22nd, Crystal Moon, Sound Bath. Go to universalvibe.org. We're doing ice yoga. We're doing bubbles at the park with Texarkana, Arkansas Parks and Rec. We're doing a free chair yoga every Thursday. And we're doing a poetry slam June 18th or something. June, I got a lot of things going on in June, from doing nothing to doing 10 events in a month. Um, I love the Parks and Rec people. They're awesome.
Good.
So sweet. And the people I'm doing the chair yoga for are the people we rent out the front street from. And they're talking about helping us get some grants. And so it's potentially going to really pave the way for the next Universal Vibe. Or they almost let me do, I almost talked them in to let me do uh vendor only fair November 1st, the Halloween weekend, and making it like a Halloween Universal Vibe. But I was like, how can I do the vendors without doing the kids art district, and how can I do that without doing the bubble party? And we're gonna have music, no music, and my brain just starts snowballing. Wow, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you.
I love you so much.
Love you too.
Bye, everybody.